To ensure we can keep producing great free content, please leave a comment below or leave a question that we can help you with. Then like and subscribe for all the latest updates. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. Focus and exposure. Now this may seem strange why we're covering these together, as they are completely two different subjects, but all will become clearer very soon. So here's what we're going to be covering: tap focus, exposure, and auto exposure and autofocus lock. Tap focus. As with composition, focus can make or break a photo, but it can also add drama if used correctly. When a subject is in focus, this means that the subject is within the depth of field. The depth of field is a range of sharpness within a photo. It can be something like having something close and in focus, and the background is out of focus. This is known as a narrow depth of field. To a photo that has everything in focus, which is known as a wide or large depth of field. As with composition, it's important to ensure that the subject and focus of your photo is in focus. Don't just raise the camera and assume that the subject is in focus and take the photo, as it may not be in focus. Because the screen is relatively small, it's hard to see the finer detail of what the camera has chosen to focus on. For this, we need tap focus. Compose your image and then tap the subject point on the screen. A yellow box will then appear over the subject, confirming that this is in focus. Exposure. As with composition and focus, making sure that you correctly expose your photo is extremely important. Once again, the camera will automatically judge what the exposure should be, very similar to a program mode on a DSLR. 9 times out of 10 it does a pretty good job. But there are occasions when the camera is tricked. If your subject is facing you and the sun is behind them, and this is more prominent, the camera will assume that you want the sun to be exposed correctly and the subject is in a silhouette, when actually you want the opposite. So to adjust the exposure, there are 2 methods we can do this. It all depends if you have a secondary subject or if it's just a landscape view. If just a landscape view, but the exposure is overexposed or underexposed in the area of interest, just tap on that area of the screen. The exposure point will then change. You may have to tap in different areas to find out the best exposure. The other method is, once again, tap on the screen and then you'll get a yellow box that comes up. You will notice on the right side of the yellow box a mini sun icon. With your finger, slide this icon up the screen to brighten or down the screen to darken. Sometimes whatever you do, it won't be enough because you're trying to actually fight with the fireball of light in the sky being the sun. No camera on earth will compensate with that. So what we do here is go back to our composition and move our subject and actually use the resources of such a thing as a reflector, constant light source, or a flash. Now there is a third way, because once again you're putting into practice your rule of thirds composition, focus and exposure, and you trust the camera to do all the work. So let's set the scene. You want to photograph your partner against a beautiful landscape. They stand on the left hand side. You focus on your subject, then you recompose for the scene and the focus moves to the background. Now your subject is out of focus. This is where you become a true photographer and take complete control over your camera with manual settings. So what do? As before, tap on the subject, but this time tap and hold. This now brings up an extra box, AEAF lock. This is now locking your focus and exposure on your subject. So now you can move the camera and recompose the shot and your subject will stay in focus. If your exposure is good, that's great. If not, you can use the sun slider as before to lighten or darken your scene. This means you have full control and the camera will not adjust anything automatically. To ensure we can keep producing great free content, please leave a comment below or leave a question that we can help you with. Then like and subscribe for all the latest updates. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video.